Give everyone at your next event a super awesome mix with our mixtape cards. Each one comes with a personalized message and photo along with a QR code that takes them to your mix on whatever streaming service they use: Apple, Spotify, Amazon, or YouTube. They're perfect for birthdays, weddings, graduations, and even holiday cards. Go to superawesomemix.com/mixtapes and bring back the magic of the mixtape at your next special occasion. Welcome back to another Super Awesome Mix. My name is Matt Sidholm, alongside my co-host and co-founder of Super Awesome Mix, Sam Abu Salbi. Sam, this is a long time coming, but we're not giving the people what they want this week, right?
Yeah, I was gonna ask you. You know what the worst is? this mix.
This is kind of a bonus episode. So last year we went to kind of every other week as a format. We decided this year, we'd throw in a couple bonus episodes on what are normally off weeks where we run, one of our classic mixes. And I don't know, we've been toying with this idea maybe since season 1. I feel like just the idea of like the worst mix ever.
Yeah, no, this was really fun. Because obviously our aim is to create good mixtapes, listenable ones. But then every now and then, you just have that thought creep in. It's like, what would happen if you just put together like a really bad mixtape for someone? Like, because like I would say the aim of a mixtape way back in the day is, it's a bonding moment. Maybe you like someone, maybe you just want to be friends with someone, maybe you just became friends with someone. You're like, hey, let me make you a mix of like the music I think you'll like that I also like. But maybe there's scenarios where you just want to punk someone or you don't like them. And so you make them a mixtape that is just atrocious, and you believe that they will dislike every single song. So that was the challenge we gave ourselves. We kind of appropriately decided that it would be an April Fool's mix. So that's around the timing that we decided to do this. And yeah, so we were each charged with 6 songs. We're doing an A-side, B-side. And the goal was to get the lowest possible score. So we're going to rank every song 1 to 10, and then we'll add them all up at the end. And our goal is that we succeeded in giving, like for me, the mix that I made for Matt, I hope that he absolutely hated it. It scores like a 6 out of 120. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, the lowest score would be a 6. Maximum score would be a 60.
60, okay? Right,
yes. If for some reason you liked every single one of these songs. But yeah, it was very much designed to be, I picked 6 songs that I felt Sam would really hate. And so as we go through these, you'll hear my commentary on each of these songs, good, bad, or indifferent. And but really the intent was I wanted Sam to hate each of these songs, and then vice versa with the mix that he gave me.
Yeah, so with that, let's get this rolling. So A-side is the mix that Matt made for me. So I will be introducing each of these 6 songs, and then as he just said, he'll kind of cue them up, and I'll give you my reaction and my score. So let's get rolling. Track number 1, you picked... And this is a great strong opener for any other mix, I'd say. But this is How You Remind Me by the one and only band Nickelback.
All right, so Nickelback. Maybe this is just low-hanging fruit, right? To just pick on Nickelback because everybody kind of does it. But here's where this one's doubly bad. One, it's just a bad song, right? Like I feel like it's kind of meaningless. It doesn't sound great. But this has been played on the radio like 2 trillion times. And like, even if you try to actively avoid it, you will be out someplace and this song will play. So everybody knows this song. That's the other part. It's overplayed and it's bad. Here's the thing with Nickelback. I've watched the documentary that I think was on Netflix, and that tried to kind of paint them as like, hey, why does everybody hate this? Like, look at all their loyal fans. These guys seem like really nice guys and frankly kind of dorky. And I think that's why people hate them, is because they're out there trying to be rock stars and trying to like talk like they're all cool, when it's like, yeah, we know you guys are just dorks. And it's like, there's just an inauthenticity to it. So the more I watch this documentary, I liked the guys. They actually seemed like great guys, but I was like, I'm out on this band. I can't get into any of these songs. So all that being said, Sam, with my first pick, how much did you hate this?
Okay, so I actually have some bad news for you. I I used to listen to Nickelback all the time. So so this hit really high on nostalgia for me. So I had to rate it higher than I probably would in any other
Oh
scenario.
gosh.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Okay.
but don't fret because there's some other picks here where you make up for this.
So
But
where did this one land? What was your
this one
number
landed
here?
as a 7 out of 10.
Wow.
Yeah, 7 out of 10. Because obviously they had to lose points because you're right. Like this is not a good band. I put them in the same category as like you maybe could have swapped in a Creed song and you also would have
Mm,
expected like a very low score, but I also would have scored that high because of the nostalgia thing because to your point, they just played everywhere all the time. And I think, we have a mix coming up later this year that we're going to name the Stockholm Syndrome mix, which is like a
yeah.
song that is so terrible, but you hear it enough times that eventually you're like, yeah, I like this song. This would be on that for me, I believe. I think I just got overwhelmed with Nickelback and Creed to the point where now many years later, I'm like, oh yeah, you know what? This song does remind me of a good time, if you will.
See, I was in on Creed, then I was out on Creed, and then when the Texas Rangers won the World Series a couple years ago, their like Creed was kind of their song that the guys would sing in the locker room, and so
Uh-huh.
that's where I got back in on Creed. So I'm like,
Nice.
yeah, it's been a roller coaster, but yes, similar vein as far as the band goes.
All right, so that was the first one, 7 out of 10. A rocky start, but it's okay. You kind of recover here. This next one is Insensitive by Jan Arden.
Okay, so this is just a classic emo '90s girl song. Okay, she's kind of
Yep.
whiny. And I've said this since 1995 or 6, whenever this song came out, right? The guy doesn't even know what he did wrong, right? Like, this is that
Right.
classic example where she is calling him insensitive for some reason, and he doesn't know what happened, right? Like, he just knows he's the subject of this song. At least Taylor Swift, it's like you know who the guy is, you know what happened, like it's pretty direct.
Sure.
Where this is real wishy washy as to what this guy did wrong. This is Jan Arden's a one hit wonder. Like this was actually a kind of this got a lot of radio airplay. This was kind of popular when I was in college, and yeah, I mean it doesn't hold up, and it's just an awful song. So Sam, how much did you hate this?
Um, this one from the opening notes had kind of an immediately no response from me. Any kind of like soft rock or soft piano play like that, it
Yeah,
just kills me. I'm like, why is this music? Like why, why, why? I don't want to listen to this. However, she earned like a couple of points, not many, a couple of points because I did kind of enjoy the chorus. Like the chorus was okay.
yeah,
So she earns a little bit of points there, but overall, this gets a 4 out of 10. I really did
okay,
not like this song. Yeah.
okay, yeah. No, it's not a
So
great
well
song.
done.
Thank you,
Well
thank you.
done. Oh goodness, yeah, I love the generic like "I'm sad" song. Well that way, you just broaden your appeal, Matt. You're like, yes, I could apply this to anything. All right, let's go on to track number 3. Here's where you really pick up steam, and this was probably kind of an obvious one for you to pick, but this is "Thinkin' Problem" by David Ball.
Okay, I love country music. Sam, longtime listeners of the show will know Sam's not a huge fan, but every now and then I get him on a country song where he's like, "This is pretty good." He's got his fabled scale of country music where he rates songs. Okay, I don't even like this country song, so I knew when I did not like it that you would hate it. Okay, most especially the way he says "thinking problem." Okay, hey, this was a radio hit. Like this was a big song for David Ball. So, Sam, how much did you hate this?
Yeah, no, this was your strongest pick in terms of in terms of how much I dislike this song, I give it a solid 1 out of 10. I'd actually
Wow.
given it a 2 out of 10, and then I was like, no, like this doesn't even, I don't even know where it earns any points. It is so twangy. It's a
Mhm.
very, very twangy country song, and that's where
Yes.
you lose me. Like, I
Yes.
just imagine myself sitting in some bar somewhere in the middle of Texas, and it just made me want to just stop, just like I couldn't. I don't even think I could listen to the whole song. So that's why it was a solid 1 out of 10. Well done. But, I knew you were going to throw some country on here, but well done with this pick because it is the most country of country songs I can imagine. Awesome. All right. This next one, I believe we've talked about before, and it's still just as shocking to listen to it now. Well done. It is Strokin' by Clarence Carter.
Okay, I actually love this song.
Of course. Yep. Of course you do.
I believe we included this on our Do Not Play at a Wedding playlist because I
Yes.
told the story of being at a wedding and a groomsman doing a lip sync to this and no one really understanding what was going on, but he just kind of went for it.
Sure.
And a lot of people outside of me did not know this song before and did not know what was coming. And anyway, I love the song. Clarence Carter's actually got a lot better songs outside of this because in this one he doesn't really sing; he just sort of talks over the beat. But I thought you would just be so offended by it that you would hate this song. So, how much did you hate this song?
Yes. Okay, so he earned some points because the lyrics are hilarious
Yes.
and it does kind of grow on you. Like it's catchy, like like once you get over what's happening, you're like, okay, this is actually kind of catchy and you can listen to it. And again, the lyrics are hilarious, but still a pretty terrible song. And I have to wonder why it got made. I get this one a 3 out of 10.
Mm, okay. That was
Yeah.
actually, I wasn't sure. I was like, hey, he might like this. I don't know. But I just went for, you're just going to find it so offensive. But
Yes.
for me, it's a 9 out of 10, but that's just me.
That's awesome. All right, this next one is track number 5, Wrap It Up by the Fabulous Thunderbirds.
Okay, the Fabulous Thunderbirds are kind of the like Mountain Dew of music. That it's just empty calories. Like I don't know what
Uh-huh.
this genre of music is exactly. It's hard to place. It's not like it's kind of rock. It's a little country-ish, whatever. Like the lyrics just make no sense. Like I love you, baby. You wrap that up. I'll take it. Like what are we taking? What is being wrapped exactly? Like it's just such a nonsensical song and just so repetitive. I just thought you would hate it. So tell me I'm right.
You're pretty right on this one. The first note that I wrote, I love that you said it's a Mountain Dew of music because I was like, I don't know why this exists. Like this is one of those songs I couldn't find a purpose for this to exist, for someone to have recorded it and produced it and sent it out into the world. Also, like, what are they talking about when they say wrap it up? I
Right.
agree. Like, what are they? It just makes me uncomfortable. I don't know what's being wrapped. I don't know what these lyrics are. It's an odd track. So
Right.
this one
Is
actually
it
got
human trafficking? Is that what's
you're
going on here?
right.
Why? Is it a shipping container that they're being wrapped in? Like, none of this makes sense.
No, none of it makes any sense. It just absolutely makes me uncomfortable for some reason. And maybe I was in a good mood when I did this score, but it got a 3 out of 10. It's still there was
It'll
still
suck you
something
in. It'll
redeeming.
suck you in.
Yeah,
I mean,
there's
this was a
still something
radio hit.
weirdly right.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I remember this was like on the radio pretty regularly. And I was like, all right, there it is, Fabulous Thunderbird. And they had some other hits too. Like Tough Enough was another big one, right? Where it's just like,
Hmm.
look how tough I am. And I guess that's, a good thing maybe for guys. It's not even like toxic masculinity. Like, I don't even like that term, but like, it's not even toxic. It's just sort of generic masculinity.
I
I think
like
that's their genre of music.
generic masculinity.
There's nothing patently offensive about it. You're just
Right.
like, well, what are you just
Very
trying to act
generic.
like you think a man might act? It's like they're aliens coming here, and they're like, I will
All
act like
right.
the male forms of these beings. Yes,
I am man. I like woman. Wrap it up.
yes, that's right. That's right.
Oh goodness. All right. Wonderful. Well, this last one really just really nails it. And even just off title alone, I was ready to give it a score. And it is Where Are All the 12-Year-Olds by Ray Stevens.
Okay. Ray Stevens became famous like in the 70s, in particular for a somewhat serious song called Everything is Beautiful. And then for parody songs, one called Ahab the Arab, which I did not include all this. And I say Arab because that's how he said it, Sam.
Sure.
Okay. More recently, he's still making music, including one called Osama Yo Mama. Okay. And this one, Where Are All the 12-Year-Olds, which just on title alone gets you really fearful of what this song may be about. Okay.
Correct.
But it is the most get off my lawn, okay, pun intended, song of maybe of all time, because he's talking about how 12-year-olds should be out there mowing lawns because it builds character, and adults shouldn't be doing this work. Like, you shouldn't be paying like a lawn crew to mow your lawn. It should just be some 12-year-old. And this is kind of the downfall of society, it seems like he's implying here. Ray Stevens, by the way, I believe performed at the Republican National Convention last year. So take that for what you will. Knowing all that now, Sam, you must have hated this song.
I really, really did. And here was the progression of what happened with the song before I give you the score. I saw the title and I was like, oh, this is not going to be good. I'm already alarmed and scared about what's going to happen. You know, like speaking of just trafficking and all kinds of stuff, like this is going to be weird.
Right.
Especially knowing it was like, presuming it was a male singer, right, with the name Ray Stevens. I was like, oh,
Yes.
This is not going to be good.
Yes.
Then I started to listen to it, and it didn't get that much better. It was like a little bit better than I thought, but not that much better. And then, you know, he says the line, "Don't be mad when a man who can't speak English replaces you." And that was when I was just like, oh my God. And then it's not done yet, though. I thought, well, okay, maybe this song was written like back in the 50s. You know, I had no idea who Ray Stevens was. I didn't know he was at the RNC last year.
Sure.
And I look at the year that it was released and I was just like, oh my gosh, why?
Yeah, it was just, was it this year or last year? Like, it's a recent track. Right? Yeah, this
very
year.
new.
A brand new album.
It could be on our new music mix in April.
I know. Maybe it may come back. There's probably 11 other songs on that album I could pick from.
Right. Oh my goodness. Okay, so this got a solid 1 out of 10.
Yeah.
I don't think I could score it 0. So 1 out of 10.
Excellent. I thought it would be pretty low. Okay. All right. Okay, hold off on your total. We're gonna give that at the end of the show so that we're saying it at the same time. We don't want to spoil it, okay, by telling everyone what your score is. Now, we will pop the cassette out of the player here, flip it over to side B, and these are Sam's songs that he thought I would hate. And track 1 is one we talked about in the show before. It is Brown Eyed Girl by Van Morrison.
Yeah, this is, you know, if for you it was to put a country song, for me it was to put Brown Eyed Girl on this song, on this track. I kind of vividly remember how much you adore this song and just want it played all the time and at all the weddings. I hope it's at every single one of your children's weddings. You know, like you're just going to love it and treasure it for the rest of your life. So I had to open up my mix with one, hoping that I could get a good solid foundation for the rest, because there are some ones that I gambled on here. So tell me, how much did you love this song?
I hate this song. At one time, I liked this song, right? I think when I first heard it, when I was very young, I think I did like this song. And then over time, like, it gets played all the time, right? Like any oldie station in the country. I mean, it's probably playing on a station right now as we speak, as we record this show. So it gets played a lot. And then especially, and I think what really gets me is people's reaction to this song. Like, I feel like I'm the only person who's like, yeah, but we've heard this a million times, right? We could just move on. Like, everybody's like, oh my God, I love this song. And I'm like, we're not sick of it, huh? Everybody's just right into it. Especially for Van Morrison, who has, like, I don't know, 1,000 other songs, all of which are better than Brown Eyed Girl. And if you go see him live, and I've never done it, but if you were to go see him, like, he's going to play Brown Eyed Girl at some point because that's what the people want.
Yeah,
so I hate it, but, you know, I'm going to give it a little Van Morrison bump here and give it a 2.
Nice. he gets 1 point for being Van Morrison.
That's right. Just one extra point for being Van Morrison. Um,
Very nice.
all right, your next pick, and I was not familiar with this one. It is called "Woo Boost" by Rusko.
Yes. Okay, so I went through a pretty long and still kind of lingering dubstep phase in my life. And so this one is actually in my library. It was a song I actually listened to a whole lot. What cracked me up is that I'd never thought to check the lyrics because there's really not lyrics to this
There's
song,
not,
but
no.
apparently you had the lyrics up on your music player and then
Yeah.
screenshot it and sent it to me, and I just about died. So bonus points to me for getting that little bit of joy. I never ever would have thought that this song is a song with lyrics. And they're such in-depth lyrics too. I mean, they really make you think. They make you think about the woo and about the boost. So I really hope that you enjoyed the song as thoroughly as I have over the years. But you tell me, what'd you think?
So I'm just gonna dive into the lyrics actually because I wrote some of them down here. It is wub 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 dub 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 woo, wub 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 dub 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 woo, wub 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 dub 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 woo, and it goes on from there. Okay, it's pretty much a pattern from that point. This
I mean,
song
those
made
really
me.
make you think.
This song made me insane. Okay, and I just like 30 seconds into it, I'm like, no, they're not going to change, are they? Like, this is going to be the song. Like, how much more time do I have? It was but here's the thing, at a certain point now it's like it really does kind of like numb your brain to where you're like, okay, maybe I can listen to this till the end. Okay, whoa 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 dub 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 woo. It was killing my brain cells, but for that moment that it sucked me in, I gave it a 2. Okay, but
Very
I
nice.
I really did hate this song. Yeah.
I think this used to be on a running playlist of mine, which actually, you mentioned like numbing your brain, like that could work for you. Because this was at the time in my life when I wasn't running outside. I'd only do treadmill runs, and treadmill runs are just a special form of torture
Mm.
for running, especially if you're used to outdoor running. At some point, you're just like, I can't go back. So yeah, if you're looking to just numb yourself into a state of catatonia, I think put this song on. You're going to be great.
All right, this next one. Let's bring the room down a little bit. It's called "Everybody Dies" by Billie Eilish.
Yeah, so in another conversation I had with you many, many moons ago, I remember you telling me how much you love when Billie Eilish kind of whispers into the microphone. That is just, you consider it music, you consider it the peak form of music, and you just couldn't get enough of it. So I thought I would treat you here to one where she's particularly good at that, and just especially with a topic and a title of "Everybody Dies." I thought this one would just go out of the park, just a real solid home run on this. So tell me, how much did you enjoy this song?
I mean, what a bummer. Like, just from the title, and I think those are the first words she speaks, is "Everybody Dies," and just
Yeah.
the way her voice is, and you're right, just kind of that low sort of, almost like like when Lana Del Rey came out. Like when both of them came out, I'll admit, and this sounds very old manish, but I think Ray Stevens would agree with me. I just didn't get it. Okay,
Right.
I just didn't get it. I was like, and like they can both sing. And so I don't understand these diversions that they have into songs where it's like, well, now I'm just going to kind of mumble in a deep register. What do you think of that? And I'm like, well, then why don't you go back to the other stuff where you're actually singing?
I love that.
So yeah, I gave this a 3 because Billie Eilish could sing, but I don't want to hear this song ever again because it really just kind of depressed me.
Yeah, no, she's extraordinarily talented. I think we all agree to that, but there are songs of hers where I kind of agree with you. It's not my favorite. It's not my favorite Billie Eilish song. I'm not playing this one again either.
All right. This next one I feel like you do play a lot, okay? It is F the System by System of a Down.
Yes. So this one was a little bit of a gamble because I remember you told me that you grew up with a sister that listened to metal a lot.
Yeah.
So I figured you were like at least, acquainted with System of a Down. Obviously, I've brought them on this show a whole lot because I love them as a band. But this one is a particularly screamy track from them. There are songs from theirs that are a little bit more melodic, and this one is just basically him screaming into the mic over and over to F the system. Which also could be cathartic these days because you might be frustrated with everything that's going on. So I'm not sure. This is like I said, this one's a bit of a gamble. So I'm curious, how much did you dislike this track from them?
This was a 5 for me. I
Okay,
actually
nice.
love the
Yeah,
guitar here. You mentioned my sister who loves heavy metal. Now, granted, she's 5 years older than me, so like we're not talking about System of a Down era. It'd be like Iron Maiden, right? Like she's in her
right, right.
50s. Okay, like it's not. But yeah, so I love the guitar here. We've talked about System of a Down on the show before. I mean, they're good musicians, but I think you nailed it with the screaming. Like that was the part where I was like, "Oh dear, no, please stop doing that, please." And then he just keeps going at it, if you will. I just couldn't do it. Yeah, so knocked it down. But again, like the guitar playing and the music behind it, like if I just dropped the lyrics, I think I could listen to the song. So I gave it a 5.
Yeah, I'm with you. I can't do screaming for very long either. This is not a track I listen to from them often. I usually this was a solid skip for me on an album. So
All right, track 11 on the worst mix ever. You picked Biddy Body Bidboo by Bubbles.
yes, you might have been familiar with this track. I don't know when the last time you watched Super Troopers was, but it was featured in the movie Super Troopers. What's so funny is that my friends and I used to listen to music like this in our cars driving around. We definitely went through like a Fast and Furious, like 16-year-old phase of like windows down, music cranked up, and it was all like electronic and trance and like German and Belgian techno and all that kind of stuff. So when we saw the movie Super Troopers, which is a fantastic film, and we heard this song being played in it, we added it, we found it online, on Napster or whatever, and added it to our repertoire of music that we would listen to. So I really loved it, and it just makes me laugh, especially thinking about the movie. But this is also just a nonsense electronic song. So I'm curious what your thoughts were on this one. How did I do?
So okay, it's funny, and I didn't place it immediately, but this song started and I immediately recognized it. And I was like, wait, I think I know this song. And I couldn't place it. I didn't like this song, like the way it just goes on. But again, something triggered in me, and I looked it up. And you're right; it's featured in Super Troopers. I've seen Super Troopers probably 100 times. I love that movie.
Nice.
So just the nostalgia of it, like pushed this up to a 5 because I was like, okay, like I love that movie. I love something that's going to invoke that movie in my head, and so yeah. But like just as a song, if this were to come on, I mean, it's way better than the Woo Boost song, right? Like it's
Yes.
just hands down. It's light years ahead of that, but again, not something I'm going to listen to all the way through. So yeah, just right down the middle. This was a 5.
Yeah, I think this one at least feels different throughout the song, whereas Woo Boost, to your point, feels like it was like 4 seconds of actual recorded material. And then you just looped for like 3.5 minutes.
Yeah, every now and then I have the thought of like, could I go into GarageBand on my Mac and like fashion a song, publish it on Spotify, and like get some plays, right? Get people to get into it. And I feel like Woo Boost was something like that, where it's just like, all right, well, this is nonsense. It took me 3 minutes to create, and yeah, how many downloads do I have?
I love that.
All right, let's wrap this up. You go with Company by Disaster Piece.
Yes. Okay. So this is one where I literally started laughing when I remembered the soundtrack, and I had to put this on here because this is a soundtrack to a film, the horror film called It Follows, which is an excellent horror film. It's one of my favorites. Um, a lot of the songs on the playlist are really, really good. I don't think this is necessarily one of them. This is one where I won't talk much about it because I'm actually curious about your reaction, and I'll add on anything that I need to. But I just really hope you enjoyed every single note in this just masterpiece of a track to close out this mix. So let's hear it. How much of a horror was this to you?
You really closed strong here because this was a 1. I hated this song. There was
Yeah.
kind of this weird dissonance throughout it. It was just unnerving to listen to. And when I saw that it's from the movie It Follows, I guess that tracks, right, with where it's coming from. But like, I'm not a fan of horror movies either. So like, not only is it like, okay, this genre of movies I don't really follow, but I think I listened to it when I was like driving home, and I was like, oh my gosh, like if you had put this first and then Everybody Dies by Billie Eilish, I would have driven off the road. Like that, like we wouldn't be recording right now.
I'm so glad I was careful with my ordering here.
Yeah, you
So
did just a good enough job, but like
yeah.
this song, God, that was the part where it's like I don't want to listen to this ever again. Like more so than Woo Boost, like it's like I don't want to hear it again. But like that one I'll listen to before this. This was an absolute one. You really nailed it on the home stretch here.
Thank you. Yes, there is. If you're going to listen to this, listeners, I recommend going around minute 1 and playing for like 30 seconds because it sounds like someone just fell asleep on a synth keyboard and forgot to stop recording. And then the producer was like, "You nailed it. That's a wrap.
Yeah.
Wrap it up. Let's do it."
The term paper with nothing but the letter Z, right? Because he just passed out on the keyboard. Like that's what.
Yes.
It's brutal. It's brutal.
Oh man, it's rough.
All right. So Sam, let's go back to side 1. What was your final total score on that?
Yes, so out of a potential 60 points, which would have been just a perfect mix, you got a solid 19 points.
Oh my
well
God.
done.
And Sam, out of a possible 60 points, you scored 18. So you had a worse mix than I did. So you win. You win this battle of worst mix ever. Folks, a lot of time, go check it out because I'm sure there are people, and you can write to us at Super Awesome Mix and let us know. Go ahead and defend one of these songs. We'd love to hear that. But
sure.
Also tell us like, hey, I've been listening to the show for years. You two would hate this song, or Matt would hate this one. Sam would love. We would love to hear about that.
Absolutely, yeah. Hit us up with your picks. And I really enjoyed this, and I hope you all did too. I think we should bring this back every so often because it is a particular kind of challenge to not figure out, or rather to figure out what songs you are not going to like. And it's especially fun if they're songs that you yourself like, because it just feels even funnier to extend them to someone else.
That's right. That's right. Knowing that they will not like it. So yeah, yes. Definitely. That's definitely a fun one. So we're going to get to work on more serious mixes we both enjoy. And we'll be back next week with a new one of those. So for Sam, this is Matt, and we'll see you then. Super Awesome Mix is brought to you by DLM. Make shopping easy with DLM, the one-stop shop for all your casual clothing needs. Shop DLMsupplyco.com and enter the promo code AWESOME at checkout to save 15% off your first purchase. That's DLMsupplyco.com.